And with that, we are live! Hooray! Welcome to Glossop Improv Conversations. I'm Jess Hodgkinson, and with me today, I have some fabulous improvisers that are going to talk to us a little bit about their improv origins and their inspirations, who inspired them when they were starting out and who still inspires them today. And we'll just have a kind of a freewheeling conversation about improv in general. So I'll go to Matt first to introduce himself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Iwinski. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, in the United States. Very happy to be here.
Lovely. James.
I'm James. I'm an autistic improviser. I've been improving for 2-3 years now with Glossop Improv.
Yay. Hellena.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Hellena. I'm from Seoul, South Korea. I've been doing improv for about 10 years, and I started in the first Korean improv school here.
Awesome. And Jenna.
Hi everyone, I'm Jenna. I'm in Cheshire and I'm part of the Oikers and dip into lots of different improv, and it was through lockdown that I got into it more fully, so quite recent really.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so we'll start off where we normally start, which is what made you try improv for the first time? I'm just going to open this up, and whoever has the thing that comes to mind, then just jump in.
Okay.
Oh. Go for it, Jenna.
Go ahead.
I had so for me it was about a year and a half ago. I think I've always been improvising, just generally in life and when I'm about my house and stuff, and like when I was younger, but like knowing about its actual improvisation, and I'm going to an improv class. It was about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and a friend who I'd done the Chester Mystery Plays with and acted with said, "Oh, Liverpool Comedy Improv have got a Friday night class on in Chester. Do you want to come?" And I thought, yeah, I'll go. And I just turned up not really knowing what I was turning up to, and had a great session and just laughed away. And I got into improv that way. But for me, it's mainly because of the lockdown. Like with last lockdown and there being so much improv online, I just was able to connect with people and jump online. And that's what inspired me, really.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
So I started improv about 12 years ago, and it was just a way for me to kind of step out of my comfort zone. I was always a goofy kid growing up, but the thought of getting in front of people and being goofy like terrified me. So I thought that would be a good way to just kind of break out of my shell a little bit, try something new, meet new people, and just something for fun.
Yeah, wonderful. What about you, Hellena?
I remember the first time when I did improv. It was 2011 June, and at the time in Korea, improv was not really existed, and foreigner friends introduced the improv, and I just fell in love with the improv right away. So I quit a job and I started improv, and I've been in Chicago and LA. I took all kinds of intensives, and when I came back, I started a Korean improv group. But at that time, we had just one expat foreigner English group, improv group in Seoul. And I started there, but when I came back from the improv training, I started the Korean improv group and also Korean improv school. Yes.
Incredible. How about you, James?
Well, my first sort of introduction to improv was through Whose Line Is It Anyway, as I think most people's is. But to actually do it, I'd done it as sort of just like warm-up games for different like different drama groups I've been a part of, but as a performance thing. It was only when Glossop Improv started up that I sort of got the chance to actually do it as a as a performance.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that where you are in the world, and you know the opportunities that are around you have a huge impact on what you do. And Helen, you were saying that there was an expat British group or English speaking group. Where you were. So did you when you came back from America, you were like, no, I want to have a Korean group because we're in Korea. Was that something that was important to you, to be able to improvise in your kind of first language?
Oh, yes, because when I started with the expat group, they are all from England or America, mostly America and Canada or Australia. And we have a different cultural background and also, of course, the language barrier. So I always wanted to have a Korean group, and I wanted to spread out improv to Korean. So that's why I made the school and team in Korean.
Yeah, I think that's so important, of being able to use your cultural references and play within your own culture. And I think it's great that now, as part of the kind of move online, we're all getting to experience different cultures in this new way through this sort of shared medium of improv. It's a really nice way to be able to kind of go like, oh, okay, that's how you approach this sort of themes of improv. And I really like when you see an element of improv like status, and then see how that translates in different cultures, because obviously different cultures have got completely different ideas of status. And I've pretty much only ever been taught status in the Western thing. It's like you have the king and then you have the peasant, and you're somewhere in between these two. Whereas there's so much more to it than that, and there's so much richness in other cultures of status games that happen within society. And it's been a really nice sort of insight into that. Fantastic. I'm going to ask you now about your kind of inspirations. Who were some of the people that inspired you when you were just starting out with improv? And by all means, don't feel like if you miss somebody out, they're going to get offended, because there will always be. It's the same as that thing when you do a scene and then like the perfect line occurs to you later on, and you're like, oh, I wish I'd said that. You're going to forget somebody. It's going to be fine. So I'll give you a moment to think about that. And while I give them a moment to think, audience, if you would like to submit any questions, then I will pose them to this wonderful group of people and they will answer them for you. So who has inspired you?
I can go first.
Yeah.
So many. So I had Tara de Francisco and Lance Risotto from IO, and I took 5 weeks intensive and 2 weeks advanced in IO, and both of course I had for the main instructor, and especially Tara was very warm, kind, heartful person, and she made a very safe space. So I learned the teaching style a lot from her. And also I took intensives in Minneapolis. There is Jill Bernard. She is phenomenal. And do you know her book, Small and Cute Improv? Yes. I know. Right there. Yes. She's amazing. And I ordered that book, 10 copies, and I gave to my members.
Yeah.
We always practice that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that, because at Glossop Improv, last week and tonight we've been using her character creation, the Vapapo.
Vapapo,
Yeah,
yes.
so we've been working on that. So everybody is like is now fed up of me going, buy this book, buy this book. But it is, yeah. And Jill is wonderful. Yeah.
Jill, especially Jill, she's very wonderful, very talented, and at the same time, as an instructor perspective view, she knows how to make a safe space and the boundaries, everything. So that was a really good experience, and I learned a lot from her.
Yeah. I love Huge Theatre in Minneapolis. It's just full of such brilliant improvisers, and like you say, because when I visited there, it was like many years ago when I visited there, but even at that point they were like way ahead of other people in terms of that, creating a safe space and looking into, how can we make this the best possible experience for our learners. Yeah, really fantastic. Thank you. Who else has anybody that's sprung to mind as an inspiration? Jenna?
There's so many, but there's a few people in particular. So for me, Liverpool Comedy Improv has been my main inspiration, and working with Emma, because I first started working with Emma, and then on Monday nights was every single week going on to Monday night improv group. And I think, just like you said, that group was safe, but there was a real atmosphere in the group of, it was just a warmth and a positivity that was just such a great energy, that it was the energy in the group, which of course the lead improviser, Emma, was part of creating. And it was that inspired me of, do you know what, in improv, I can just be me, but I can also go and have loads of fun and I can do what I love. So that inspired me. I've been doing some work with Ken Adams, and he's inspired me to want to be better at improv. And it's okay if I make a mistake, and it's okay if something's hard, if I'm learning something new. And he's inspired me to kind of get out of my comfort zone, really. But I could talk about so many people, but there's two for you.
Fantastic, thank you. Yeah, great. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll go. Just like what everybody else was saying, there's way too many people, but I'm going to try my best. So I started it pretty much. I've been inspired by almost all the instructors I've ever had, because they just, like everybody's saying, they make the space so welcoming. It's almost like you're with a second family. So when I was with Second City in Chicago, there was James Honey, Michael Gelman. With West Side Improv, which is another improv studio I'm with, it's Yolanda and Jeff Ash and John Abbott. And then even with Queen City Comedy, it's Mandy and Kale and Carla. It's so hard just to name one person that inspired me, because they all have impacted my improv life in so many ways.
Yeah, I'm about to start Carla's acting for improvisers, or improv for actors, whichever way around it is, this Saturday. I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. What about you, James?
I've only actually had one main improv teacher, and her name is Jess Napthine Hodgkinson.
This is not the reason that I've invited James onto this conversation, by the way.
But yeah, one thing you do really well is sort of encourage safe space and
I try,
give people room to do their own thing.
Yeah, I really like the group that we have at the moment, and how when people come to Glossop Improv, that's one of the things they comment on is the fact that it feels comfortable, and it feels sort of, because we've sort of kept it, I sort of see it as a community group first and foremost, that will also teach you some improv, but the community aspect of it, I think, is the most important thing for me. And I think that's what's kept people coming back every week. So yeah, and by the way, if you would like to join Glossop Improv, it's you are very welcome. Just drop us a message and I can send you the link. We don't put it out on Facebook, just so that we can control numbers, because then we might have like a deluge of about 100 people or whatever. But yeah, anybody is welcome to join at any time. We've had a question from Ian Luke Jones, another member of Glossop Improv, and he's asked, is there a particular scene that stands out as the moment that you each felt that you truly got improv? A moment in a scene where you just kind of thought like, oh, okay, I know how to do this. Does that make sense? It's a very tricky question.
Yeah, can you really get improv?
Oh, well, yeah, we're going to get sort of philosophical about it now. Jenna.
I'll go back to like quite near the beginning when I started improv. There was one particular scene. Ian was in it and two other people, my mum being one of the other people. And there was a scene of four of us in a breakout room, and there was just something about that scene that we all just went with it, and we all just trusted one another, and we went so much with the story that the story became so, like, it was real, it was hooked on reality, but it became so elaborated and so hilarious because of that. And it was like, that just made me go, oh, improv, it's so cool. And the fact that actually it made me get that it's about every single one of us in that working together. Every single one of us, we're part of it as a team. That's what it made me get.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. Any other thoughts? Hellena.
Improv team, our Korean improv team, we had the stage last show. It was 2019 December, and at that time we did Harold, and I still remember that group game, and we were like just an organic one monster with 7-8 people, and we just running around the stage. And at that time I felt, wow, this is a group mind, and this is really fun. And I'm not sure what's getting improv yet. So for me, I have to analyze that question first. What does it mean? But when I heard that question, I just that image was popped up in my head.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, it sounds like it would be a striking image. So it's great. Matt.
This is probably when one of my earlier shows, my group that I was with, we were all very nervous because it was the first show I think we were doing. And we took yes and to a whole other level where we agreed to every single thing. Even if it didn't make sense why we were saying yes to it, we did. And it was so funny because it worked so well, where even the audience was just like, oh, they're going to say yes to this. And we had like the same mind. All of us had the same mindset, and we were just all in sync with each other, that it just, after that, it was like, yeah, this was fun. We get this.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, when you kind of, you all hit upon the idea and you just go, this is what we're doing now. Like, this is what we have to do. And then when the audience picks up on it, they're just like, oh, let's see how much we can push them. Yep. That's one of the things that I love most about improv, is that the way that you set yourself up to fail and give the audience control, and you just go like, whatever you give me, I'm going to incorporate it. So come on, bring it on.
I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this. The moment you start saying, "Oh, I'm a good improver. I can do this," it'll slap you right back down.
Yeah. It's like, as soon as you kind of like, as soon as you take your eye off the ball, and that's it. Yeah. I was just thinking then about, like, there's maybe been like a couple of times that really sort of jumped out at me. One was me and my first ever improv teacher. We went over to Nottingham to Miss Imp, the wonderful improv group that's there, for a workshop. I think it was with Lloydie James Lloyd, who is a fantastic teacher. He's just wonderful. And we did a scene. There was me and a guy called Trilly, and this was the first time that I'd met this person, never worked with him before. But we had this scene where we were just given loads of endowments, and it ended up that he could only speak in rhyme. I was about to be sacrificed as part of some weird pagan ritual. But we sort of got into this weird flow to the point where we were able to say the same ending line at exactly the same time, because I knew that he would have to rhyme whatever he had just said. And I knew what the setup of the scene was. And so we said this line in perfect unison, and they were just like, wow, improv magic just happened. It was just like, just one of those things where when you let go and you just go, I'm just going to go with this. I don't know where it's going, but I'm just going to do whatever feels right next. That's where you kind of get those moments where you're just like, and I just thought, I wish we'd been on stage, because it would have just looked so impressive. Sometimes you just like, that little bit of your ego just goes like, I wish this was in front of an audience. Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much. It's lovely to hear all of those insights into your favourite scenes and things that have stuck out to you. And yeah, a very good point, James, about, as soon as anybody that just goes, I'm good at improv, you just think your next scene is going to bomb. Excellent. So who in the improv community, in like the wider improv community, inspires you now? It might not be somebody that you've worked with. It might just be somebody whose work you've seen and just thought, oh, they're doing something really, really cool. Who is inspiring you at the moment? I've really stumped you now, haven't I? You may have just exhausted them all when you were talking about your inspirations beforehand.
So many papers in my head right now, but it's all past. But you asked right now, so it's the most difficult question for me. Yeah. If you ask about past, I can say like 100 papers, but right now I'm still chewing on, and I'm just still processing. So it's really hard.
Jenna?
I think like right now is hard to do, but I think for me right now, I can't think of, other than the people I've mentioned, like a particular improviser that is inspiring me right now. But what I'm inspired by is the community of improvisers and that community connection and that community feeling, that even if you're improvising with somebody that lives down the road, or if you're improvising with somebody that lives halfway the other side of the world, you feel connected. And that's what's inspiring me right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I always try to, like everybody I improvise with, I try to borrow something that they do, because everybody does things so uniquely. And you watch one person do something, you're like, oh, I'd never thought of doing it this way. Or, oh, I really like how they, utilized the small little screen we're in. So yeah, that inspires me, just to see what everybody else does and just to kind of borrow little things from everybody.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's why I think it's so useful when you go to a workshop, not to just focus on what the exercise is, but to really pay attention when other people are doing their scenes, because you learn so much from seeing like how you might think like, oh, I know what I would have done with that suggestion. I know how that scene would have played out. If I was in it, I would have done this, and if I would have done that. But if you just sit and watch the other people, you just go, I never even would have made that connection. And that's just like, oh, that's such a wonderful, wonderful gift. Yeah, I think we can learn as much from our fellow students as we can from the teachers as well. Excellent.
For me, right now, I'm kind of in few communities like Pack Theater, LA one, and Columbus, Iowa, Nest Theater, and Minneapolis, Huge Theater. I'm doing jam every week with them. And also sometimes they invite for the show. So their community, for the Pack Theater, they are very variety. They have so many different kinds of improv. So like a character improv, crazy wacky style of improv. So they makes me extend the spectrum. Yes, and for the Nest Theater, the Tara de Francisco and Lance Rizzuto, they founded that theater, and they're it's very similar with the Huge Theater. They are very like a family, so I can just play like a kid. No worries at all. I can play. This is really safe space, and they are increasing me a lot. So yeah, right now I can think about them.
Wonderful. How do you feel that improv has affected your life in general, not just within terms of performance, but do you think it's been useful in kind of other areas of your lives?
Wow, can I go first? I have so many things to share. Improv totally changed my life because since I've known improv, I majored microbiology and I worked at IT company before. But when I know improv, and so that means I didn't have any theatrical background, none, zero. But as soon as when I met improv, I just fell in love with improv, and my life totally changed to 90% of improv. And so my career changed, and I brought improv to Korean, and I do believe improv can change the world. And I started corporate improv workshop. So my life without improv, I cannot think about it. And even my husband, he is very jealous about improv. Also, my husband is a programmer. So when I started improv, he only watching the show and he never done improv. But after 3 years watching my improv, and also he also went to Chicago together, he watched a few shows and wow, they are really having fun. Then I will try. And he tried, and now he's really core member of improv team right now.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, sometimes people draw comparisons between improv and cults, and I mean there are definite likenesses between the two, because it's something that it can be so transformative that you do want to run out into the streets and have you heard about improv? You want to just run up to people and bring them in. Yeah, wonderful. Oh, thank you. Anyone else? James?
It's been a bit of a lifesaver through all the lockdowns and all that stuff. Because being autistic, I need routine.
Yeah.
And when the lockdown started, it was just gone. So having that regular thing to do and build a routine around has been so helpful.
Yeah.
Over the last year.
Yeah, and having that contact with people as well, just that regular kind of social contact, because the social aspect of things since we've been under lockdown has been difficult, because it doesn't feel the same to just chat with your friends over Zoom, and it can feel quite tiring, and it can feel like you're sort of missing out on something. But I think with improv, because your main focus is doing the exercises and the scenes and things like that, like the fact that you're having a great time with your friends is just like an added bonus, and it's just it's like just a weekly appointment to like laugh for an hour. that's what it's like. Some improv sessions are like, this is an hour and a half of complete silliness that I'm going to have on every Friday evening. That's my plan. Yeah.
For me, it's like similar to what you've all said, but it's brought a lot of lightheartedness into my life. Like, you know, work can be so serious, it can come with so much responsibility that you feel, and you know, that in itself can be overwhelming. But you jump into an improv session and you're not you at your work, you are just you, and you're with great people, and you just have a laugh. And I think it's the laughter and the lightheartedness for me that's been like just brilliant, because I love being silly, and so I get to do more of what I love in life through improv. So it's great, and I feel more like me because I'm doing more of me, because I'm doing it in improv, not the me at work who has to do X, Y, and Z. And I think that's good. And I think the friendships that you develop through improv, you know, like you were saying, James, about, you know, through the pandemic and through the lockdown, and like you were saying, Jess, about, you know, there's been less social interaction. But actually, if you jump in the improv world, there's so much social interaction, and it's social interaction that's for good and positive, and it's through that positivity. And that's what you were saying, wasn't it? That's what could change the world, right? So let's get everyone doing improv.
Oh, wonderful. How about you, Matt?
For me, improv has been a giant like stress relief. I get anxiety a lot. Like every day I'm always in my head worrying about something, anxious about something. So for me, improv has just been a way for me just to kind of escape from all of that. It's weird because like I'm so anxious during the day, but when I get up on stage or like I'm doing a show, that just all kind of melts away, and I like find myself in my own little world, and it's like a good chance to like be somebody else for a little bit and just kind of break away from whatever's stressing you out or just like on your mind. And plus, like everybody's been saying, the people that you're with, just it makes it 10 times better, because you're all supporting one another, you're all having fun, and you just forget about whatever's bothering you. So it's a good stress relief.
Yeah, there's something really nice about knowing that you are not in control of what's going on during improv. That's really nice, is like, because we're in a very weird situation at the moment where we want to try and be in control of things, but we're not in control of them because there's a pandemic going on. And so that's very stressful and very anxiety inducing. So to have like this little space where it's like, you are not going to be in control of what happens in this scene. It's just going to go wherever it goes, because you're only in control of you. You're not in control of the other people that are in the scene with you, but you know that you're within a sort of a safe, comfortable space. So you can just, whatever is going on in your head, you can just let it out as well. It's it's a good pressure release as well, I think. Wonderful. Is there anything in the improv world that you would like to change, or that you would like to see develop or adapt in any way? Hellena.
Oh, I think I am very prefer grounded, slow scene. And I think I started from IO, so it's very IO style, grounding, heartful. But what I had experience with annoyance and Pack Theater, they are very crazy, wacky style. So I really, it's hard to break my shell, but I wanna do that more crazy, wacky style. I wanna break my shell, and also I really love musical improv so much. I'm really bad at singing, and I'm really bad at rhythming. Everything is terrible, but I'm really enjoying singing whatever I'm doing. So I want to more deep dive into the musical improv.
Yeah, one of my guests on the last one of these was Jen Kenny, who runs a musical improv course, and she was saying exactly that. You don't need to be a good singer, you don't need to have rhythm. Everybody makes up stupid little songs when they're like around the house. You're just like, I'm just gonna chop this carrot, whatever you're doing. You know, everybody like sings a little bit to themselves, or just, well, you saw me when I was setting up this. I can't do anything techy without going do 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 do. And there's so much joy to be had in musical improv, but yeah, I'm a bit like you. I was like very scared to take it on in case they just go, and now a song from Jess. I'd just be like, but yeah, it's a wonderful thing to explore. Any other thoughts?
There's nothing really much I would change at the moment. I'm very excited to see where improv is going to go, especially when theaters start opening back up again. I think we're going to see a lot of new styles coming out just from improvisers who are doing stuff via Zoom, like all over the world. You're going to see a mash of everything. And I'm hoping that this whole online improv community that has kind of started because of the pandemic, I hope it doesn't go away. I hope we can kind of combine the two in some kind of cool way. Because, I mean, this is just great, being able to, when else would I be able to talk to you guys, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
Outside of this. So, you know, I'm really hoping that that's something that can change in the future, just a hybrid of both online and in person.
Yeah. I think I really hope that the online aspect of it is going to stay, and I think it is, because I think, you know, now that we've opened this box, there's no way that we could just put all that improv back in it and close it up again. It definitely has to continue in some form. Jenna, did you have something to add, Jenna? Sorry, did you raise your hand?
Well, right, I'm not sure if I'd change anything. I'd agree with what you said, Matt. Like, I'd like it to stay online afterwards as well as in person, because I know personally I've done a lot more since it's been online, and I've been able to connect with groups like in America, let's say, or with people from all over the world, and I wouldn't normally get to make those connections. And I feel like I've grown so much as a person just through learning from other people that aren't in my immediate vicinity or having exactly the same experience as me. I think as well, I'd love to see improv open up more to kids, you know, and like it to become more of a thing that children and parents of children are actually aware of. So they could think, I could look for an improv class. Whereas we go to drama school when we're a kid, or Saturday drama class, but I don't remember there being a improv class in person for kids. And wouldn't it be great for children to start improv then, and it would become even bigger? So I think that would be good for it to be more known for children. And
and it's so perfect for children, because that's who it was designed for in the first place. It started with Viola Spolin creating drama games for children. So it going back to that just makes sense. And I think that a lot of those classes like that we have in the UK of like drama classes and things like that, they use loads of improv. They just don't call it that. So nobody ever really gets to know what improv is. So then sort of the only reference that people have for it is Whose Line Is It Anyway, which is quite different from the various different ways that improv can be used. It's one very specific small area of improv, but that's all anybody knows because so we need more people to know what improv is and not be afraid of it, because I think also a lot of people have a kind of a bit of a fear of improv. Even a lot of actors that I've come across that are just like, oh no, I can't improvise. You're just like, but what? But how do you decide how your character is going to sound? How do you like how? Yeah, I don't really understand how you can act but not be able to improvise. But maybe what they mean is that they're scared of the idea of not having a script in their hands. James, have you got any thoughts about how you would like improv to change or develop?
I think, like Jenna said, I think we need to keep it online. But I think we need in person back as well.
Yeah.
To be honest, my internet dropped out for a couple of minutes, so I missed some of the conversation.
Well, that's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah, I really miss the social aspect of it.
Yeah.
The meeting in person.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah, I think, I hope it kind of continues in a blended way. And I really hope that we can get some kind of exchange program going so that we can go over and visit all of these different countries that we've been improvising with, and they can come over here. I mean, I think Glossop is going to have to build a few hotels because we don't have that many, but I think there's going to be a few people who want to come see us and a few places we want to go, definitely. So thinking about getting into improv, what is a piece of advice that you would give to somebody that is just starting out with improv? Jenna?
I think in your first session, to go as open-minded as possible, but to trust yourself, like just to trust that first idea that comes to your head, and to know it's okay to say that idea and to go with it, because even if it's not the greatest idea, something great could come out of it. And even if it flops, gosh, that's great, because we all do that all the time. So I think just to have that trust in yourself that you can do it, but also to be there in the session. Like, I've done before when I've been busy with work and I'm trying to order this and this, and I'm trying to do the improv class and get that out because that needs to be in. I've not really given to the class and got as much out of it or given as much. So I think if you're going to do it, just try and let yourself jump straight in and to do it fully, but to also trust your ideas and just trust yourself and go with it.
Yeah, that's great advice. You ask Matt.
Kind of touching on what Jenna was saying too, with jumping right in, just don't be afraid to fail, because there's going to be times you're going to get up on stage or you're going to be performing, you're going to bomb horribly, and that sometimes that's like the best part though, because then you can fall back to that and be, and just make fun of it and just have a good time with it. So don't take it too seriously. Just, get up there and just do the first thing that comes to your mind. And if it doesn't work, who cares? Just, keep going. Yeah,
that's a really good point. And that's why the only reference being Whose Line Is It Anyway is a bit problematic, because they've recorded for about 4 hours and you're seeing half an hour of that, and they have bombed so many times during that recording, but all you're seeing are the bits that worked perfectly, exactly as they wanted them to. So yeah, that's why I would say to try some kind of longer form improv if you can, or some things that are about montages and lots of different scenes, because you will see that not everything has to be super slick, super funny, and that even if you have an idea, like Jenna mentioned, you have an idea that might not go anywhere, but that could be picked up later on. You might have, done a little movement that somebody finds inspiring and they incorporate that later on. Or you might have done a kind of a voice that somebody incorporates, or said a word that sparked somebody else off. So everything is useful. Yeah, wonderful.
I actually agree with that so much. And when I started improv first time, I tried to prove myself to audience. I'm smart, I'm fun. but, but that was really stupid idea. And my older instructors, they said, don't judge yourself and having fun. Especially Sujan Missing said, having fun. If you are not having fun, you are the asshole. And because I heard and I know everything in my head, but first of few 3 years, about 3 years, every time I was judging myself and I blamed after the show, and even I blamed my team. Oh, he or she didn't say yes. she refused my idea. Something like that. And 3 or 4 years later, oh yes, I can guess anymore about that, and I can having fun. So after then I tried to having fun. So my goal was having fun, and my standard of success of the show is: am I having fun? Success. If I don't have fun, fail.
Yeah.
And also I really talk to my student a lot because my student say a lot about this. Oh, I think I'm not good enough. I'm not really good at this. I think I'm just one way loving. I'm not sure it's translate correctly, but it's both improv and student, they both love. No, I'm just the only one who loves improv. I'm not really good at it. And I always saying, you are good enough. And everybody has different beautiful side. They have their own attractive improviser side. So that makes our group wonderful. So I always saying that. So
Yeah.
talk to yourself.
That's a really, really good point. One thing I do quite often in workshops, and James will have experienced this, is I will give somebody the subtext. So that I don't tell everybody what kind of scene somebody is playing, and I'll write to them in the chat, play a boring scene. And I will also tell their scene partner to do the same. And neither of them know that they're both been told to play a boring scene. And I've never seen a boring scene. It's always really, really entertaining, because you can't be boring. If you can think that you're doing absolutely nothing and you're not contributing anything, or you're not clever or funny, but something you are doing is going to be fascinating. Everybody is really interesting. So yeah, that's a really good thing to think of. James, what's your piece of advice?
I think don't be afraid to look silly, because it's going to happen.
Yes. Just accept it. You're going to make a fool of yourself.
I remember one of the early Glossop Improv classes doing this thing where we had to walk around like chickens that were about to be hit by a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a bit of a confession about that. You said I'd done it right, but I reacted to the bomb right at the end.
Yeah, it's such a silly exercise, but it's a great one. Yeah.
And looking back as well, I think I remember thinking, if someone walks in now, they're going to think, what's going on here?
And then they're going to come back at the same time next week to see if they can take part.
And sort of being a bit embarrassed if someone had walked in. And now I just don't care.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, it's a muscle. You've got to kind of like train your kind of your shield against embarrassment. I don't know what it would take to embarrass me though, because I've just done so much stupid stuff on stage and in front of other people. I now just think, yeah, well, whatever happens, I'm gonna look an idiot, but I'm all right with that. So it's very freeing. Wonderful. Okay, we're nearly at our time now. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to plug anything that you've got coming up that you would like to plug, or any groups that you're involved with. Take it away.
I'll do a plug.
Yeah.
I'll plug the Liverpool Comedy Improv class for kids that's run every other Saturday. I'm running that with Jen, who you mentioned, who teaches a musical improv. Jen's absolutely fabulous. She's so great in the sessions with the kids. It's just absolutely brilliant. And we're running the sessions every other Saturday. So if anybody has a child or a teenager that would like to come and try improv, or just to come and play games and be silly, then they can find that on Liverpool Comedy Improv's Facebook page or website. And it's a great hour and a half, and it's a real safe place, and it's a real place where the children that are going at the moment, it's only a small group and we're looking to grow it, just really support one another. And they've got that skill of listening already. And I think if anyone would like to give it a go, I mean, it adds so much, doesn't it, to your life? So yeah. So do check out Liverpool Comedy Improv for kids.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jenna. Anyone else?
Actually, I'm teaching Korean improv class, so I'm not sure how many Koreans watching now, but they will. So I have a monthly course, and they are very enjoying my students right now. They are very enjoying right now. So you can try online improv. And also I'm taking your classes, so graduation show will come, but you can check on my Facebook. And also I'm doing 10-minute improv with a friend. 10 minutes, just easy. And also I did with the jazz and Seki. So anybody, if you are interested in 10-minute play with me, just hit me up. You can find me website hellenajang.com, double L. Yes, that's it.
Cool. Thanks, Hellena. Matt.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably have shows coming up. I have to check my calendar. But you can catch me at with Queen City Comedy, or West Side Improv Studio in Wheaton, Illinois. They offer a bunch of classes and stuff too. Two great places to check out, and then you'll see me around there as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. How about you, James?
I'm gonna steal one of Glossop Improv's. Is it the 11th? We've got a show at the nursery.
Yeah, the 11th of April, we are doing a show at the nursery called The Garden Party. It's going to be us and Improvoki, which again is Jen Kenny. She gets around, that Jen Kenny, doesn't she? She's everywhere. Jen Kenny and Hannah Platts, they do an improvised karaoke session, and we are doing our usual Glossop Improv thing of short form games. So yes, that should be.
Have we got another little something special coming up?
We don't have one this month, but we will have one again next month. Excellent. Well, thank you all so much for joining me. It was really nice to get to hear about your improv backgrounds and the people that have inspired you along the way. And we will have another one of these conversations on Tuesday with some other wonderful improvisers. But for now, we'll say goodbye to Facebook. Bye, Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.
Bye. Bye. Bye.